Hey everybody, welcome to JoJo's Corner. Today I'm excited to bring you my week 1 wrap up for my Read Through the Bible 2013. I hope that you had a wonderful week in Bible reading. I know that I did. I learned so many things this week and I'm excited to share just a few of the things that God has really been speaking to me through His Word. But before we get into that, I just want to go ahead right straight out the gate and encourage you guys, if you have missed a day, if you missed 4 days this week, to not give up. As I said in my intro video, this is not about perfection, it is about persistence. I can read through the Bible than anybody can. I also have a little tip that I would like to share with you guys and gals out there. Something that really helps me when I'm reading through something that just encourages me and gets me prepared each day to commit to doing this is to have my Bible and my notebook and my pens and any other supplies or things that I'm going to use, to have them all together near the area that I choose to read my Bible. I have a favorite chair that I like to read my Bible in, and so by keeping my supplies handy, it sort of just sets me up for success. So this week's readings took us from Genesis 1 all the way to Genesis 23, and we also read a little bit in 1 Chronicles. Starting in Genesis, first off, Genesis means beginning, and I think that is really cool because it's the beginning of a new year, it's the beginning of the Bible, it's the beginning of a totally new and fresh walk that you're going to have with Christ. Some of the main points that we hit on in our Bible reading this week was the creation, the story of Adam and Eve, the story of Noah, and the flood. And we also started talking about Abraham. Something that really stood out to me in the creation account, and a little bit later when Adam and Eve were eating of the forbidden fruit, was the fact that Eve saw the fruit, she saw that it was, pleasurable, and took it and ate it, and then she turned and gave it to her husband, and he ate of it. We need to be careful that the things that we're doing are not setting other people up for failure and drawing other people away from God, but that the things that we do build up others and draw them closer to God. We also talked about Noah and the ark this week, and something that I really loved was the fact that Noah was faithful to God in spite of the situation around him, the world around him, the people around him. Everybody was just sinning and living life the way they wanted to and being totally disobedient to God, and they didn't care about Noah. They thought he was crazy. That kind of just encouraged me that, it doesn't matter what your circumstances, your situation, your environment is. I mean, look at Adam and Eve. They lived in the perfect environment, a sinless, environment. Man had not committed sin at that point, and yet they sinned. And then we have Noah, who was surrounded by sin and surrounded by wickedness and surrounded by people that were being unfaithful to God. And he chose to be faithful to God. He chose to live a righteous life. And also warned me that I can't use that as an excuse to do the wrong thing. Like, well, everybody else, or at least I'm not as bad as so-and-so. We don't need to get caught up in doing that. We need to look at ourselves, our lives, and say, am I being faithful, even if no one else is being faithful? And one of my favorite love stories, love scenes in the Bible is when we see Isaac and Rebecca meet for the first time. I just love this. I love that she just saw him out in the field meditating, and she just sort of jumps off her camel, puts her veil on, and goes over to meet this man who God has brought into her life. And I just love that love story of Isaac and Rebecca. But next week we're going to see that, like any love story that's real, there are going to be a few bumps in the road. So, but we'll talk about that next week. I'm going to leave the list of verses that I'll be reading in the coming week in the info bar below as well. And I encourage you though to just keep on reading. We're going to meet a lot of exciting people as we continue to read, and God's going to just open up so many things. There's so many things that God's opening up in my life. I know He's going to open them up in your life, and I would love for you to share some things maybe that as you read this week that God showed you. So from Judge's Corner, happy Bible reading. Bye, everybody.